Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. To all distinguished guests, and we have some very knowledgeable people in this room. Some who I have known for a little while, others who I have only seen today. What a great honor to be here. Thank you to the students for asking me to come over. I know I'm filling in somebody else's shoes, but it's a huge honor nonetheless. So while we are here to commemorate 550 years of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's birth, as a mark of respect, Shuruaat kariye, let's bring our hands together and let's do the Mool Mantra together in the room as loudly as we possibly can, as respectfully as we possibly can. Ek Omkar, Satnam, Karta Purakh, Nirbhau, Nirvair, Akal Murਤ, Ajuni Saibham, Gur Prasad, Jap, Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Hai Bhi Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. एक बारी और कर लिए. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूर्त अजूनी सैभम गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच. You okay? Thank you, Ji. I have been asked to speak about Bebe Nanaki and touch upon the topic of feminism in Sikhism. Very interesting topic. A few things are known about Bebe Nanaki, and of course a lot is known about feminism. So जिन्ना कुछ सानू पता, we'll at least get the opportunity to reinforce what we already know. जो कुछ नहीं पता, we will learn from each other. So let's try and make this session as interactive as we possibly can. I'm not here to speak. I'm here also to learn from those who know more than me. So let's make an attempt towards that. I don't really have a script because I was only told yesterday, but that is regardless. Sorry, history. Before I go any further, I think it's important to know how many in this room are not comfortable with the language Punjabi. If you can please raise your hand, so I can then use less of that. Yes, there's one hand, two hands, three. Okay, so I'll try and limit my use of spoken Punjabi in this session. There will be some references to Gurbani, which you may not know, and of course they are not in the slideshow either, so please bear with me on that. But jinne apni Sikh Society se baithi hui hai, and the people who are associated with the religion, with the ideology, with the philosophy, they will hopefully be able to understand and connect with some of the references that I will try and make. Our knowledge is very limited. ਜਦੋਂ knowledgeable speakers stage ਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਬੋਲਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਨਾ, ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਬੋਲਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ. ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ please join in saying that ਅਰਦਾਸ. It goes like, ਕਹਾਂ ਬੁੱਧ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੁਛ ਹਮਾਰੀ ਵਰਨ ਸਕੇ ਮਹਿਮਾ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਰੀ हम ना सख्त का सिफ्त तुम्हारी आप ले हो तुम कथा सुधारी. So may Vaheguru Ji grace us to improve what we are going to say. He is going to put his words into our mouths today, and we are going to learn from each other. Guru Sahib ne kiha, मैं मूर्ख की केतक बार है कोट अपराधी तरिया रे. Guru Nanak जिस सुनिया पेखिया फिर गभास ना परियारे. So these are again references from Gurbani, which some of you may not know. But just to explain, in all humility, the Guru is saying that I am a fool. मैं मूर्ख की केतक बात है. What is it about me, a fool? And this is Guruji, who's spiritually enlightened. He's not a fool. But see the humility with which the Guru speaks, and that gets mentioned in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. मैं मूर्ख की केतक बात है. कोट अपराधी तरे रे. कोट meaning billions. Apradhi means criminals. Taryai means they go past what is the mortal life into immortality. So, man morak ki ketak baat hai kot apradhi tarya. So, what is it about me, a fool? Those who are criminals, who have committed several sins, can also go over this life's dangerous ocean and attain immortality. Guru Nanak Ji sunya apekhyas, those who have the ability to listen, to connect with Guru Nanak's message, those who have seen it and heard it, phir garbhasa padya rahe, they do not fall into this cycle of life and death again and again, as most of us do. So we will come to this topic a little later. Let's first understand the time that Guru Nanak was born. We all know about 1469. We all know that that was the year that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born in. Of course, 2019 minus 1469 is 550, which all young people also in this room can calculate. Guru Nanak Dev Ji comes into this world. He is born in India, where the Mughal oppression is already high. The Mughal Emperor Babur is sitting on the throne. The country has been invaded in the past as well, and almost every single, the most important religion, the only religion actually in India at that time was Hinduism, and under a very, very big threat. Islam was just introduced into India. There was a degree of Buddhism in the country. Christianity had slowly started to come in, courtesy Vasco da Gama into Goa from Portugal, and that was almost the similar sort of time that this was happening. Judaism was little known in India. What is the relevance of this in today's session? It's about what role women had and what was happening with women. We're not here to criticize any religion, nor is this session to promote or sing the praises of Sikhism. Please, let's make no mistake. But let's be aware of what was happening at that time. So in Hindus, there is a tradition when the child is born, a few months, a few years later, they are given a sacred thread to put around the body, which is called Janeu. Most of you know this. It is a very sacred ceremony, and it is done to purify a person, and it is believed that wearing the Janeu will purify the soul as well. And see the irony that the Janeu is never put on a woman. We're going to talk about this. The Janeu is never put on a woman. Why? We had the Lotus, Durya, and several others who were being worshipped. Their idols were present in the temples, but they were not given equal status in the society. So why is that? So on the one hand, they are being worshipped, but the normal women day to day are either condemned or looked down upon. Such was the state of affairs. Islam, talk about Islam, again, no criticism as such, but see the irony where a woman is not allowed to go into the mosque. A woman cannot go to Mecca even today to perform Hajj. And that was happening then. Buddhists seem to believe that to be able to go above and beyond the circle of life and death, the woman must be born as a man, and only then this will become possible. Christianity seems to believe that Eve actually instigated Adam to have the forsaken apple. Everybody in the Western world knows this. And there comes Guru Nanak, who is born into this world where the woman has this kind of status. So what does he do? Of course, he was a messenger of the Lord Almighty himself, right? So he knew his purpose. But let's talk about Bebe Nanaki. We'll bring this topic back. Bebe Nanaki, as Raj had said earlier, holds a hugely prominent place in Sikhism or in the Sikh ideology. She was, as he said earlier, the first Gursikh or the first follower of Guru Nanak. Of course, they were siblings. Born in 1464, most of you know this anyway, in 1464, in a village called Chahal, which is in the district of Lahore, which is now in Pakistan. It was all India at that time. Pakistan and India were the same country. What used to happen at that time was that during the birth of the child, the mother would go and live with her parents. Happens in a lot of communities even now. So a few months prior to the birth of Bebe Nanaki, Mother Triptaji went to live with her parents. And there is a term for the maternal family, Unu aisi kehne Nanka. The term is Nanka. Nanka means the maternal side of the family. So comes Bebe Nanaki in 1464, and being the first child, she gets a lot of love from her mother and her maternal grandparents. And she was an extremely lovely child, and these are the historical references that we read about her. So she came to be known as Nanakiya Di, of the Nanakas, of the maternal family. So the name became Nanaki. As the time passed by, Nanaki then came back to Talwandi, which is now Nankana Sahib in Pakistan, which is where father was, and the father was, as we know, Mehta Kalyan Das. A lot of references call Mehta Kalyan Das Mehta Kalu. There are no rights or wrongs here. We don't into a debate, but let's just understand certain corrections as well. So the time passes by, and then being the sole child, she sees other children playing with their siblings in their courtyards, and she pleads with her parents that I would also like a sibling, preferably a brother. Of course, it's not in anybody's hands, right? But in due course, that does happen through the prayer, through the adas that Bebe Nanaki performs almost on a daily basis. And in 1469, 5 years later, a boy is born into the household. And who gets the first glimpse of the boy? The midwife. It happens even now. Actually, the midwife is always the one who gets the glimpse of the child, unless the husband is with the spouse in the operation theatre or in the room in the hospital. So that woman is called Dai Daulta. For those who know, Dai is the name for midwife. And Daulat means wealth, Daulta means somebody who's very wealthy. And she got this name as a term because she was giving birth to all these children who were born because she was a midwife, right? So Dai Daulata was instrumental on that day, and Mehta Kalyan Das, being the chief treasurer in Rai Bular's Talwandi, is a well-to-do man. Bebe Nanaki and Guru Nanak Dev Ji are born into a fairly decent family, which is not poor by any means whatsoever. And he then gives a huge thal, a huge plate filled with cash and jewelry to Dai Daulta and says, this is your wealth today. And Dai Daulta says, I need nothing of this sort today, because what I have seen, I am already blessed. She knew that something phenomenal has happened on that day. Bebe Nanaki gave immense love to her brother. Within a few years, it was very clear. I'm not going to go into several Sakhis, which we all already know. It became very clear to the family, especially to Bebe Nanaki, that he was here on a purpose, and he was not like any other normal child. Regardless, she gave all her love to the brother, and there came a time when the father was not happy with the progress of the son. Didn't go to school. Went to school for a day. He actually taught the teacher a few lessons about spirituality. went for the Janeu ceremony and questioned the Pandit who was performing the Janeu ceremony about exactly what I shared earlier. If it is to purify my soul, why is that thread not put around women? Asa di Var, which is a reference on that. There is morning bani, there is a morning prayer that the Sikhs recite every day, which is called Asa di Var. Some people prefer to call it Asa ki Var. And Asa di Var, which in Asa di Var there is a reference about the Janeu, which is called Tag. Tag means Taga, Tara is the synonym for Janeu, which is used in Asa di Var. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji mentions, and that gets reference in Asa di Var, Tagna Indri, Tagna Nari, Padke Thuk Bhavai Nikdai. So there is no thread around our sexual organs, and there is no thread around the woman. What kind of hypocrisy is this? So the Pandit also gets a shock of his life. So did the teacher. And Mehta Kalyan Das is just surprised as to what is going on, because I would like a child who follows in my footsteps, earns £1 million and gets successful. That is our definition of success even today. Bachcha changi university chale jaye, changi job lag jaye, bada business hoye, etc., etc. That's what we do even now. Anyway, a few years later, Mehta Kalyan Das Ji says, enough is enough. Here is some money. You need to know how the world works. Go and take this money and make a profitable deal, a truthful deal called Sacha Sauda. We've all heard of this story a million times over. Sacha Sauda karke aao. And the reference is that 20 rupees is given to him. Rupees was not the currency at that time. Let's not make any mistake here. Lodi sikke chalde si. Lodi's coins was the currency at that time. So he takes 20 Lodi coins and goes on to perform a profitable deal. Of course, Mehta Kalyan Das only understands money because he was the chief treasurer in Rai Bular's Talwandi. And we all know what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did. Or distribute kara, he gave food to the poor, shelter, clothing, etc., to those who could not afford. Came back, did not go back to the parents' house because he knew what the father's reaction is going to be. For a whole night, Guru Nanak Dev Ji did not come back home. And he sent Pai Mardana, his companion, a Muslim, next day to communicate to the family, to tell them that he's back. And Pai Mardana then conveys to the family that this is what has happened with the money. Enraged father then runs to punish the son. And as soon as Mata Tripta, the mother, and Bebe Nanaki, the sister, hear that this is what is happened, Mata Tripta then sends the sister Bebe Nanaki to rescue the brother. And she runs and reaches in the nick of time, and as soon as Mehta Kalyan Das raises the hand to slap the boy, Bebe Nanaki gives a big tight hug to the father and saves the son. Does not take the father's hand down. Such is the power of love. And such was the understanding that the siblings had. Without saying anything, the father stops, and Bebe Nanaki's purpose is therefore solved. Bebe is an interesting term which some of you would already know. Bebe is a term which is used for mother and grandmother as well in Punjab. And Bebe is also a term which is used for sister. Almost all of us have read this Shabad in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. This is Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani. Pehle pyare lagga than dudh, pher pai baap ki sudh, agge tije paiya pabhi babe. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually uses the term babe, and the term babe actually means sister. So this is the origin of the term Bebe Nanaki, and from babe it gets distorted, and the term commonly used is Bebe. So Bebe Nanaki. At the age of 11 years old, in 1475, Bebe Nanaki then gets married to Paya Jairam Ji, who was a surveyor who used to who traveled between Sultanpur Lodi and Talwandi. Daulat Khan, who was the chief of Sultanpur Lodi, and Rai Bular, who was the chief of Talwandi, because it was called Rai Puedi Talwandi, who was Rai Bular's father. They were relatives, apparently. And this man, Paya Jairam Ji, was a go-between. He used to convey messages from one person to the other. And of course, he was well-to-do. He had a prominent role to play in Daulat Khan's village. And they met up. Rai Bular, of course, knew Mehta Kalyan Das, and he said, time has come for your daughter to get married. Let's remember, also the girls used to get married at a very tender age, even boys. So at the tender age of 11, Bebe Nanaki gets married to Paya Jairam. The actual union happened several years later. Bebe Nanaki ji goes to Sultanpur Lodi, but Baba Nanak or Guru Nanak gets left behind in Talwandi. And Rai Bular, who had by then become a huge follower of Guru Nanak because of his spiritual enlightenment, was very concerned because the father and son never got along. Father was always angry at the poor performance of the son. So there came a time when Bebe Nanaki came to her maternal house, and Rai Bular then requested Bebe Nanaki, please, I beg of you, take your brother with you, because the father and son cannot see eye to eye. She complies and takes Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Sultanpur. And she says, you rest here, you do what you want to do, you meditate, you sing God's praises, you are free to live in my house, and don't worry about anything else. But such is the conscience of Guru Nanak. He says, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I want to earn a truthful living as well, and I don't want to be a burden on my sister and brother-in-law. So they then find him a job at the Modi Khana, and he then starts to work in a shop where people complain that he is weighing rice and flour and pulses and everything else, and there is 1 kilo and 2 kilo, and the moment the weighing scale touches 13 kilos, which is tera in Punjabi, it reminds Guru Nanak of the word tera, which is yours as in God's. And whenever the weighing scale is on 13, Guru Nanak just continuously chants tera, 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 and gives everything away, whether the weight is now 15, 20, 25, 30 kilos or more. And of course, the other employees are surprised to see what's going on and complain to Daulat Khan, who then looks into the matter and finds that actually in the till there is not less money because of the surplus food and ration that has gone away. There is more money in the till. And where did that come from? It will baffle every accountant in the world, because the balance sheet is not going to tally. And that's exactly what was happening, because he was blessed. But there came a time where Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, "Theek hai, that's fine, this is not what is suiting me. I will go back and do what I did." And Bebe Nanaki stands firmly behind the brother with all her love. And that's exactly what she did the entire life. Let's also remember, Bebe Nanaki and Paya Jairam Ji never had a child. She was childless throughout her married life. Considered a big curse in many societies, even now. Knowing that her brother is spiritually enlightened and can grant several blessings to several people, Bebe Nanaki never ever asks for a worldly blessing from her own brother. Never. In due course, Guru Nanak Dev Ji gets married, has children. The first child of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, we all remember the name Baba Siri Chand, is What Dai Dolta did at the time of Guru Nanak is what Bebe Nanaki did at the time of Baba Siri Chand, the role of a midwife. And Baba Siri Chand was almost single-handedly raised by Bebe Nanaki. Not that Mata Sulakhani, Guru Nanak Dev Ji's wife, was not there. Of course she was around. But that was the first child. And Bebe Nanaki was raising Baba Siri Chand because Guru Nanak Dev Ji figured out that that was not the path that he had to take, the worldly path. Yes, he was involved in the household chores, but he went on to his entourages, which we call Udasiyan, where he became worldly detached and spiritually connected or spiritually attached. So during those udasis, during those spiritual journeys, Bebe Nanaki Ji was looking after not just the household but also the children and helping Mata Sulakhani Ji, who was Guru Nanak Dev Ji's wife. And there came a time where Pai Mardana, the Muslim, the very, very dear friend of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, his instrument broke. He used to play rabab. It's a musical instrument, a stringed instrument called rabab. He's called a rababi because he used to play the rabab. Guru Nanak Dev Ji would sing, and that is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did throughout his life. All his bani, he's always sung. And Pai Mardana used to play on the rabab. So when the instrument broke, Pai Mardana did not know what to do. He asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, "Go to my sister. I have never asked for anything from my sister, but go to her." Not that Guru Nanak Dev Ji did not have money or could not source money, but he gave specific instruction that you go to Bebe Nanaki, get the money from her, go to Frinda, the name of the person who used to sell rababs at that time, and buy the rabab from the Frinda. So that is one key contribution. That is what he asked his sister for. That I need a rabab, and it is going to be bought with your money. That is going to be your contribution. That's how the world will remember you. Of all the other things that you've given to me in my life, rabab will be another key thing that the world will remember you for. It will be bought from your money. And when the time comes, we all know that incident, which is oft cited, of the river Veni or the Veni Nadi, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes and takes a dip and does not come out for 3 days because he goes into meditation. Whether you want to believe that Guru Nanak Dev Ji took a dip and nobody could find him in the river, whether you want to believe it or you don't want to believe it, that's a separate matter altogether. But we can look at almost every spiritual messiah in the world. Something very similar has happened to all of them. They've disappeared for a period of time because they find that connection. So you can either look at it literally or you can look at it metaphorically when we say they disappear, as in worldly detached for 3 days. That is my interpretation. I think many other people would have also interpreted it like that. So for 3 days, the villagers could not locate him. And the only person who remains unflinched in this is Bebe Nanaki. When we do our ardas, which is our prayer, the Sikhs recite this prayer several times during the day. Kadi bhi kiti ja sakdi, we can do it at any time. There comes a point about 3-4 minutes into the ardas, we say a few lines. Sikham Sikhi Dan, Kes Dan, Rahat Dan, Visaho Dan, Parosa Dan. We ask for these blessings from the Almighty. Visaho means trust and Parosa means faith. They are almost synonyms. Visaho Dan and Parosa Dan. Ihoya Dan, this kind of a blessing Bebe Nanaki had, where she had the faith as well as the trust that the brother is safe. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. And exactly that was true. 3 days later, Guru Nanak Dev Ji reappears. Because she said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji cannot drown because he had actually come into this world to pull those people out who are drowning. Let's understand this spiritually. And then at the age of 58, calculate whatever time, I think that's 15, 18, there comes a time when Guru Nanak Dev Ji comes back from the Udasi, and he used to route his journey in such a way that he used to come through Sultanpur Lodi, because he always wanted to meet the sister who always gave her love. So, ek Rai Bulan mein milte hunde si. He used to meet Rai Bulan and he used to meet Bebe Nanaki. Those two people. Bebe Nanaki, of course, was the first follower. So she was the one who not only understood the brother, but also made the word understand his brother. So Punjabi जनरल उन्होंने गुरु नानक को समझा ही है और दुनिया को समझाया भी what my brother is all about. Guru Nanak for him was a brother, veer, the term in Punjabi for brother, as well as the spiritual teacher which is called Peer. So a veer as well as Peer, Guru Nanak for Bebe Nanaki. So at the age of 58, 59, in 1518, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji comes back from one of his udasis, passes through Sultanpur, and the sister says, please stay here for 3 days. I've never asked you for anything. This is the first time I'm ever asking you for something. Please stay here for 3 days. Oh, then those 3 days, Guru Nanak Dev Ji stayed there, and Bebe Nanaki knew fully well that she is going to leave for her humble abode. And she's going to leave the planet Earth. And on the third day, Bebe Nanaki passes away, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji was asked by the sister to perform her last rites, which is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did. That was the only thing that Bebe Nanaki ever asked. We'll touch upon that, and remind me if I don't. This is about acceptance. The Sikh ideology and the philosophy always talks about living in acceptance in Pahana, and to never ask for worldly things. Bebe Nanaki happens to be the epitome of that. And as soon as that happens, the wife leaves. Paya Jairam, who is the husband of Bebe Nanaki, then requests Guru Nanak Dev Ji and says, you are my brother-in-law. Of course, you were born in that family, but I have also become connected with you. I have also got another request for you. Can you please stay for another 3 days? Guru Nanak Dev Ji complies, and as the historical references have it, the 6th day from Guru Nanak coming into Sultanpur Lodi, 3 days later the sister passes away. Further 3 days later, Paya Jairam Ji passes away, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji performs last rites for Paya Jairam Ji as well. So it's just mind-blowing the amount of love that Bebe Nanaki gave to her brother. Unconditional, always there, protective, explained to the world what his brother was all about. And that is why she holds such a prominent position in our history. And when we bring this back to now the kind of status that women hold in Sikh society, and as I mentioned earlier, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is born into this world where Babur is ruling over India. Dr. Juti Johal mentioned about the interfaith dialogue, and what a great learning, Ji. It's just been a pleasure listening to you. Absolutely right. To be able to convey that in a sensible manner is not easy, because this is a barbaric oppressor sitting on the throne. How do you possibly have a reasonable dialogue with? How can you possibly have a reasonable dialogue with a Hitler? But such is the fearlessness and courageousness of Guru Nanak, that he goes into Babur's court and calls him a jabbar, a barbaric oppressor. It takes some guts for somebody to actually do that. Babur to jabbar. And that is why we all recited the Mool Mantra together, Ekumkar Satnam Karta Purukh, Nirpao, without fear. and then nirvair, without enemies. But it actually starts from having no fear. Sometimes people can speak boldly because there is no fear within. And we are able to speak with no fear if our conscience is clear. Of course, we are worldly mortal beings here, ours is not. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji was much enlightened than that, right? So he could speak fearlessly. That's why within the whole mantra we have Nirpaho, Nirvair, Akal Murti. He's talking about the God Almighty. But the fearlessness comes first. And we don't need weapons, we don't need thick jackets, armor, whatever, to be fearless. It has to come from within. So, bringing the conversation back into now femininity, we've understood a little bit about how Bebe Nanaki was, but let's also understand how things were happening. We mentioned about the idols being worshipped, the goddesses being worshipped in Hindu temples. We've spoken about how Islam interpreted, how Christianity interpreted the role of women. There are several other examples that can be given if we go and cite examples of the mythological references from Hinduism. There is Ramayana and how Sita was treated despite her being very pious. And we all know this. And how Draupadi was treated despite her being very pious. So in such a world where the Janeu or the thread is not being put around the woman, these are exactly the kind of questions that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was raising without fear. That's a traditional looking Indian woman or bride. So a woman's status in society, yes, you can all read. It's something which we all know, we all say it, but it's very rarely followed. So as we move into the 21st century, women's status in society will become the standard by which to measure our progress towards civility and peace. So women in Indian society are still struggling. Women have struggled in the British society as well, in the Western world as well. We know that. Until very recently, they did not enjoy equal status here in the UK either. The religious factor has contributed in a significant way in creating bias against them and in keeping them in a state of backwardness. Again, as we were chatting, or as I was saying, Buddhism says that a woman cannot attain salvation unless she's born as a man later on. Her sight destroys prayer, penance, and meditation. Knowing this, the wise keep away from the company of women. Just remember, there's been a spiritual soul by the name of Rishi Tulsidas, who has scripted one version of the Ramayana, which is Hindu scripture, with all due respect. Tulsidas Ji's Doha, a couplet, is often cited on what he interpreted as the role of women and what place women have in his eyes. So Tulsidas Ji has written, Dhol, Gawar, Shudra, Pashu, Nari. Dhol, the people who play the drums. Gawar, illiterate, scheduled caste, lowly. Shudra, again, lowly. Pashu, animal. Nari, woman. Dhol, Gawar, Shudra, Pashu, Nari. What's the second line? Ya sab, all these. Taran ke adhikari. Adhikari means right. See the language that has been used by Tulsidas Ji. Taran means to beat. They have a right, birthright to be beaten. Let's reflect on this. Dhol, Gawar, Shudra, Pashu, Nari. Drummers, the illiterate, the lowly, the animals, and women have a birthright to be beaten, to be impressed. What's going on? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji never really could understand or relate to that. And of course there was a Sati tradition, which you may know of. When a woman lost the husband, the woman was forced to jump into the pyre of the man. A living woman is forced to jump into the pyre of a man and burn with the husband. Because it's a curse. You are a curse on your husband because you should have passed away first, not the husband. You're a piece of bad luck. Now go and burn with the husband who's died. And when we were in school in India, we were told of this King Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who protested against the Sati tradition. And at that time, I did not know that our third Guru, Guru Amar Das Ji, actually fought against this tradition vehemently. So Guru Amar Das Ji, I have this reference book. Of course, I'm not a learned person in terms of Gurbani, but I will read from his. Guru Amar Das Ji saying, Satya ehna akhiyan jo mariya lag jalan. I'll translate that. Satya means sati, somebody who's pure, because when you put something into fire, it becomes pure. Because I'm a chef, let's understand this from culinary perspective. Right at about 75-80 degrees, the harmful bacteria is destroyed. So we have to probe the food to see whether it has passed 75-80 degrees, because fire or heat has killed off most of the dangerous bacteria. So fire is a natural purifier. And hence the term sati comes from sat, which means truth or pure. So you burn like hell with your dead, deceased husband, and you will also be purified. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, Satya ehna akhin je mariya lag jalan. Mariya means pyre. Those are not called satis or pure souls who are burning in the pyre of their deceased husband. Nanak Satya janiyan je birhe chot maran. This is on 787 if you wish to verify. So says Guru Nanak Dev Ji as Nanak, Satis are those who actually have the love of the Almighty in their hearts. That is the way to spirituality. That is the way to have a truthful life, not to burn in a fire like this. Of course, it has always been the case. So what did Sikh Gurus say or do? The woman is not debarred from reading the scripture. So the Sikh Gurus were revolutionary because the place of worship was opened to women. Caste system was abolished and women were welcomed into mainstream. We'll come to this bit a little bit later, but we have a very important citing from Gurbani. Most importantly, the Asadivar. ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, ਛੋਟੀ ਜੀ ਪੌੜੀ ਹੈ Asadivar, which we read this in our morning prayer. Pand Jamni, I will say this, and those who remember can say, let's say this together. Pand Jamni hai, Pand Nimi hai, Pand Mangan Vyaho, Pando hoye dosti, Pando challe raho. Pand Mula, Pand Paliya, Pand hoye banan. So kyo manda akhe, jit jame raja. We know this. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji had said, so Pandavani, from a woman, we are born. Pandavani, through a woman, a man is conceived. Pandava is woman here in this. Pandamanga Vyaho, we ask for a woman's hand. Man asks for a woman's hand for matrimony. Pando ho gaye dosti, a woman becomes our friend. Pando challe raho, with the woman, the family takes place, everything else happens. And when this woman passes away, Pandamula, Pandapaliye. When this woman passes away at a young age, it's known in several circles that a man then remarries and finds another woman. Pandamula, when a woman passes away, Pandapaliye. And we seek another woman. So kyo manda akhi hai? Jit jamme rajan. So how can we call a woman bad or lonely or looked down upon when even the kings are born from a woman? Pando hi Pandu upje, from a woman the life is born. This is common sense. And the more we read Guru Nanak's Bani, the more we realize that he constantly talks common sense only. Pandu Bhaj na there is no one beyond woman. Nanak Pandaya Bahara, Eko Sacha Soe. The only, I won't say thing, the only Lord Almighty, the unseen force is beyond a woman's womb. And this truly happened, of course, starting with Bebe Nanaki. We had the wife of the second Guru, Mata Khivi Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought her into the forefront and said, you now need to take full charge, and we want women to get involved in day-to-day activities. And Mata Khivi Ji was preparing langars for thousands and thousands of people every single day. And such was the devotion of Mata Khivi Ji that in the entire Guru Granth Sahib Ji, in the entire sacred scripture of us Sikhs, Mata Khivi Ji as the wife of a Guru is the only wife of any Guru who gets mentioned in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. No other Guru's wife is mentioned in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. There have been the Kirtaniyas of Guru Darbar who saw three Gurus, father and son, called Pai Satta and Pai Balwand. There is a big story of this which I am not going to, but they had said something very disrespectful to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the fifth Guru, but they then sought forgiveness, and Guru said the only way you will be forgiven is when you come back and you sing not only the praises of the Almighty, but of the Guru Kar. You cannot be disrespectful to the place that has given you respect. So Pai Satta and Balwand then wrote a poem which is called Satte Balwand Di Var, which is mentioned in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and in that Mata Khivi Ji's name appears twice, and one of the lines is Balwand Khivi Nek Zan Ja Bauti Chao Patrali Langar Daulat Vandiye, and then there is a reference to the kheer that Mata Khivi Ji makes. That is the prominence that Mata Khivi Ji held. Came the third Guru, and we all know that Sikh ideology is born out of Hinduism. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born a Hindu, so was Guru Nanak Dev Ji, so was Guru Amardas Ji, so was Guru Ramdas Ji. We were all born to Hindu families. And Guru Amardas Ji was going to pilgrimages, doing everything, but did not have a purpose in life until he heard her niece, Bebe Nanaki, reciting a shabad, and that shabad is Paya Manur Kanchan Phir Hove, Je Gur Mile Teha, Ek Naam Amrit Oh Deve, To Nanak Tristas Deha. So this shabad, when it fell on Guru Amardas Ji's ears, it just completely transformed. He said, asked Bebe Nanaki, his niece, and she said, this is the Bani of Guru Nanak. He then went to second Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and fell on his feet. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was much younger than him. Guru Amar Das Ji, as most of us know here, became the third Guru at the age of 73, 74, the oldest to become the Guru, whose Guru in turn, the second Guru, is almost 20 years younger than him, 20 or 30 years younger than him. Such is the humility. His wife was always there, Mata Mansa Devi Ji, and she used to support Guru Amar Das Ji, and that was another example of a woman coming forward. Guru Amar Das Ji established a system called the Manji system, which most of you would know of. And the Manjis were established to spread the message of the Gurus far and wide. So out of the 21, 22 Manjis that Guru Amar Das Ji established, about 7 were women, including Bibi Amar Ji. And this with the backdrop of everything else was happening in that time. We had Babur and we had Humayun and then Akbar at the time of Guru Amar Das Ji, who was the third Mughal emperor. Sorry, Ji.
Can I ask a question? So I'm just listening to this, and as a community, the Sikhs are very they advocate female equality. The Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave us, and which is absolutely true. The theology advocates for that. But socially and culturally, what is the reality? In terms of socially and culturally, within on this side, women are not allowed to do people. If we think about the custom ceremony, the Golden Temple, and if we think about it socially and culturally, women...
Let me just interrupt you for a second, Dr. John. I think you are raising an extremely important and burning question. In terms of this session, you are slightly ahead of what is yet to come. So if I may respectfully request, just bear with me for a few minutes and, yes, sorry. Just.
Can I just say that the legalisation of women doing people on this side was actually a few days ago, I think we...
No, I was there. So I know that the government was doing it and everything. But my issue is, even though that has been said, when will it actually happen?
Yeah.
Because this has been going on since 1996, right? So and we're now in 2019. I mean, Guru Nanak Dev Ji has advocated that we have equality and that we can achieve liberation, which is the biggest point with reference to gender equality. What is actually happening on the ground? Women are not given the equality. Socially and culturally.
Okay, so I think this is exactly what I had hoped for, that people would interact. I think that is what makes a session really good and engaging, when we are questioning. And let's remind ourselves and say Satnam Vaheguru to ourselves, because we have this awakening. If we are questioning, that means our life's purpose has been fulfilled, because that's exactly what Guru Nanak Dev Ji was doing, as well, questioning. So we do need to raise those questions. So Dr. John, just bear with me. Let's just run through the historical references, and we'll come to this. It's coming up. It's very much there. So that is what Guru Amar Das Ji did. Abolished the Sati Pratha, and there was also a tradition of women wearing veils. Muslim women are also veiled in many cultures, especially in the Saudi, and we see them here as well. And Guru Amar Das Ji said, this is not what I would encourage. So the caste system was abolished, Sati was abolished. They were welcomed into, they were made the Manjidars. They were also helping out in the langar and doing community service during the time of Guru Amar Das Ji. And of course there came the time of course this came much later. At the time of Guru Ram Das Ji, we had his wife Bibi Pani, who was Guru Amar Das Ji's. So Bibi Pani was also helping Guru Ram Das Ji, especially treating people with skin diseases in a place called Taran Taran in Punjab, not far from Amritsar. Then came the time of the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, whose wife Mata Ganga Ji was childless for 14 years, as we all know. And Mata Ganga Ji is the epitome of patience. How long can a woman wait to conceive? Again, there is a different story on when Mata Ganga Ji asked for a child and what Guru Nanak Dev Ji asked him to do, and she went to Baba Buddha Ji. But let's not dilute today's conversation with that. Then, of course, is Mata Nanaki Ji, who gave birth to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's wife, Mata Gujri Ji, who is these days called Mata Gujri Kaur Ji. I don't know why, because that is the term Kaur came much later. So Mata Gujri Ji again epitomizes sacrifice, and let's reinforce the point of what the woman is all about. In general, a woman is far from being weak, we all know that. There's no debate there. But the woman is about tolerance, is about absorption, is about several other things. I'm being reminded of the time, I'll rush through. Thank you. This is my core weakness. Never mind. I'll try and be as quick as we can. We've come to the end of it anyway. Mata Gujri Ji saw her husband go away, being martyred, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the son being tortured, and the grandchildren also going through extreme oppression. Mata Sahib Kaur, we all know about, and then Maipa Kaur, who became the first fighter, who fought the battle and won that battle on Khidrana Tab, and the list goes on and on and on. But are the teachings of the Gurus being followed today? Yeah, I told you were ahead of the slides. You probably knew what was coming anyway. Yes, it is a sad reality. I think it's not really happening in many cases, and that is something perhaps for us to come together and bring about this change. It is painful to see, as you rightly said, that women are not doing Kirtan in Sri Harmandir Sahib. But let's draw upon today of the kind of legacy that our Gurus have left us, what their teachings were, and let's try and reinforce that upon ourselves, maybe as a family first. Forget about the macro world out there. Let's bring it down to what we can do at a micro level, whether it's a family of 3 or 4 or 5 is irrelevant. But can we actually apply that in our own little fortress and give the women, our wives, our daughters, our sisters, the kind of equality that should be given to them? And from there, we also know about gender inequality. Ek line aisi swear just reminded me of this line. I don't know where I've written. It's a little 4-poem. It's called, again, it's Punjabi, so bear with me. I'll try and translate that if I can, although I'm running out of time, or perhaps already exceeded time. 4 lines. Punjabi ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਐਵੇਂ ਨਾ ਤੂੰ ਝੂਰ ਬਾਬਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਵਰਗੀ ਧੀ. Let's reflect on this. Even if you know a little bit about Punjabi, you will understand. ਐਵੇਂ ਨਾ ਤੂੰ ਝੂਰ ਬਾਬਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਵਰਗੀ ਧੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵੇਖ ਲੈਣ ਦੇ, ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਜੀ. What does it mean? Don't shun me, don't dismiss me, O Father. I am a daughter like your son. I am a human being. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵੇਖ ਲੈਣ ਦੇ. Let me also see the world, because ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਜੀ. I'm also a soul which God is wanting to happen on this planet Earth. Because in India it is widespread. In India, you cannot know the gender of the child. If it's a girl, a lot of times abortion takes place, a forced abortion. Here, society is slightly different. So let's make sure that we do this. What does the future hold? That is for us to decide. And I think that's the end of the slideshow. Thank you for being with me. I apologize for. I did not know how much time I had, but. Thank you.